Excited to have you. I'm going to turn it over to you in a minute. There are a few clips that Evan's going to show you, so please just be patient. We love technology. Sometimes it glitches, but our tech team over here is going to help us out to the best of their ability. Tech team. At the end of Evan's talk, there will be a chance for some questions. And when you have a question, the 7th grade teacher will help me out. We'll either bring you a mic, because it's a little crowded, or you can go to this standing mic here. But please, just be respectful. Let's turn it over to Evan. I don't know if you want to turn the lights off, anyone on the tech team, but if you feel like this is good. Okay.
Who's running the clips over there so I can cue up the, do you know which clips
I'll sit
are
over
going
here.
away?
I got it. Okay.
Are we going?
I don't know, we're going. It's all you. Evan, you're up.
Let's start off with that first Larchmont Charter clip.
What is up? This is your LA in a minute. Today I want to talk about one of the most unique, progressive, and amazing schools in all of Los Angeles, Larchmont Charter School. Let's hear it. In February 2004, a group of neighbors convened in Lindsay Sturman's backyard to discuss creating an alternative neighborhood school within the Los Angeles Unified School District. They wanted a school to reflect the neighborhood, very diverse racially and socioeconomically. They also wanted a progressive curriculum that would harness the energy of families, students, educators, and the community. In short, Larchmont Charter grew out of a dream. Partnering with Deborah Inwood, this team would make Larchmont Charter a reality. The group worked with LAUSD and wrote the charter petition. They found and refurbished an old school site. They found a principal, recruited a diverse group of students and teachers, and when dozens of families donated more than 30,000 volunteer hours and raised more than $1 million, they received unanimous approval of their charter petition from the LAUSD Board of Education. In September 2005, Larchmont Charter opened for kindergarten to 2nd grade with 120 students. Inspired by the success of the original Larchmont Charter, a second group of parents led by Myra Francis and Jay Owens approached the leaders of the original school and asked for guidance and support in opening a sister school. The result was Larchmont Charter School West Hollywood, a separate kindergarten through 8th grade charter school which opened its doors in September of 2008. As Larchmont continued to succeed, they amended the charter to include a high school which was approved by LAUSD in 2011 and graduated their first senior class in 2016. Larchmont Charter today is one of the highest performing schools in all of Los Angeles. The diversity is nearly unrivaled, and its progressive curriculum is a model for schools all over California. There are now over 1,400 students enrolled in grades TK through 12 at the 4 Larchmont Charter campuses, and it's one of the most sought-after charter schools in LA. And that's a brief history of Larchmont Charter School. It grew out of a dream, and now it's making dreams come true for a special group of students in Los Angeles. All right, LA, it's been a minute.
What is up, Larchmont Charter School? I'm legit excited to be here. I'm happy to see so many smiling faces, administrators, teachers, students. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, and I'm excited. Larchmont is a fantastic place, and it represents Los Angeles, which is what I'm all about. And it sounds like, from Mr. Brennan, what you guys are all about as well. So let's get into it. First of all, who loves Los Angeles? Who loves Los Angeles? Okay, so check this out. I want you guys to look at your neighbors, right? Look at the people sitting next to you. Okay, this is something that's very special to me and something that's special about Los Angeles. Your neighbor probably doesn't look like you. They probably have different food at their houses. Their houses smell different. Hair is different. Everything's different about them. Check this out. Give me a second. Where's your family from? Washington State? Washington State? Where's your family from? Okay. Let me ask you, whose family's from a different country? Where's your family from? Mexico. Where's your family from? Jamaica. Where's your family from? Guatemala. Okay, so check this out. This is something that makes Los Angeles super, super special and honestly very unique, right? We're all different. We all come from different places, and Los Angeles is this amalgamation of different people, different cultures that all come together in rooms like this all across the city seamlessly, and nobody makes a big deal about it. It's just natural, and that's what makes LA. We all come from different places, and we're all here because this is such an amazing place to be. And Los Angeles, it's a relatively new city, but it has some amazing history, and the cultures and the communities that all of us represent are what make it so special. And here's something funny. You know, you hear all these families, everybody's family's from somewhere different. We heard Mexico, we heard Jamaica. My family came from Austria, Russia, England. My wife's family came from Mexico, they're from Zacatecas. And, you know, it seems like nobody's native. They always say nobody's native to Los Angeles. It's kind of funny because you guys know what palm trees are. You guys see the palm trees everywhere you go. You look outside. Palm trees right here on the LA in a Minute logo. There's palm trees on the In-N-Out Cup. Well, get this. Palm trees aren't even native to Los Angeles, right? Palm trees were brought here. They're from Morocco. They're from Mexico. They're from the Caribbean. You guys know squirrels. You see squirrels around the neighborhood. Your parents are probably saying, oh, these squirrels are eating my oranges, eating my apples. Squirrels aren't from Los Angeles. Squirrels were actually brought here after the Civil War, when veterans set up at the Veterans Administration in Westwood. All the veterans of the Civil War that came to Los Angeles, they used to have squirrels as pets and also as food. But there was a different time and a different culture, but they brought them as pets. And guess what? Just like the rest of us, palm trees, squirrels have thrived in Los Angeles. Because Los Angeles is this amazing, it's really a unique place. You guys know it. We have the beaches, we have the mountains, we have different climates, we have everything within a small drive or a small walk. And I'll tell you something, you know who is native to Los Angeles? The Tongva. Great answer. So the Tongva, Gabrielino, his people were the first people that were here tens of thousands of years ago. And they gathered around the LA River, and they had little communities. They spread out to Malibu, up the coast, down the coast, inland, everywhere. And unfortunately, I mean, the way things happen, you know, the Spanish missionaries came in, De Anda, Crespi, Junipero Serra, and came in and colonized the native people, right? And, you know, from one standpoint, forget the standpoint, it's tragic. You know what happened, because those are the true natives of Los Angeles, and they deserve to be honored, and they deserve to be recognized. And after the Spanish people came in, they founded Los Angeles. September 4th, 1781, the pobladores came in and officially named Los Angeles. Now it has multiple names. Some people call it Nuestra Señora de la Reina del Rio Porciuncula. But it's all de Los Angeles, but it's all Los Angeles. And the Spanish pobladores were 44 different families that came in, many of African descent, some of Mexican descent, and they settled Los Angeles. And they were building a little bit of a city, and then the Mexicans came in and sort of took over. There was a war, and the Mexicans took over Los Angeles, and Los Angeles became under Mexican control. So those of you that are Mexican in the room, by the way, the Mexicans were, this is definitely, they have a claim to the land as well, as we all do. And then there was the Mexican-American War, and then finally at that point, Los Angeles became under American control, and it's Los Angeles as we know it today. And a lot of different things, I mean, native people, let me get back to the people for a second. This is one of my favorite stats about Los Angeles, right? So, we talked about different cultures and people from different countries. Los Angeles has more Koreans than any city in the world outside of Korea. Los Angeles has more Mexicans than any city in the world outside of Mexico. Los Angeles has more Armenian people than any other city in the world. Los Angeles has more people of Iranian and Persian descent than any other city in the world outside of those areas. Thai people, Laotian people, Cambodian people, Eritrean people. Here was a good one. Australians. Los Angeles has more Australians than any single city outside. So what I'm getting at is this. Los Angeles is for all of us, and Los Angeles is for everybody. And none of us are native, unless you have Tongvan blood. None of us are native, and that's something to be celebrated because it's about the shared experiences, and it's about exploring with your partners, with your neighbors, with your community, what makes their lives unique and adding that flavor and richness to your life. And that's what Los Angeles is a pastiche of all these cultures and all these communities, and that's what makes it so exciting. And for me, I don't know where you guys are from. What city do you live in?
California.
It's a state. You were talking about Malibu. Where are you from?
What neighborhood?
What neighborhood? What neighborhood do you live in? Park La Brea. What neighborhood do you live in? West Adams. Good. My sister-in-law lives in West Adams. This is perfect. Look, where do you live? Downey. Perfect. My wife's cousin lives in Downey. Where do you live? This is absolutely perfect. So Koreatown. Where do you live?
I used to be in Venice.
Where?
Venice.
Venice. This is great. Look, you guys are covering the city, and that's, again, San Pedro, Boyle Heights, Sylmar, Lincoln Heights. So many amazing places in the city, and I wanted to learn about everything. Los Angeles has 88 different municipalities, 88 different neighborhoods, and also 120 unincorporated areas. And that means there's more than 200 different neighborhoods in Los Angeles. And in all these neighborhoods, people look just like us in this room. And it's amazing. They all have their history, they all have their culture, and they're all interesting. And that's why I started LA in a Minute. Can I get clip number 2, the commercial?
Number 2. Come on, keep going, keep going.
Okay, so while we pull up this second clip, hopefully. Is it up? By the way, LA in a Minute, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube as well. I currently have 97,000 on TikTok and 82,000 on Instagram. We just started 6 months ago, so it's not bad.
Are you verified?
Not yet, but if somebody can help with that, let's get that going. Hold on, let's see what we got here. Sorry, guys. Okay, leave it. All right, here we go. Listen, let's do this. Let's talk about this. All right. So here's why I started. Let me tell you this. So I've always been somebody who tries to amplify my voice. Okay, I was a journalist by trade. I went to UCLA. Of course, I stayed in Los Angeles. Well, first, let me back up a little bit. I was born in a community called Sepulveda, which is in the San Fernando Valley. It's no longer called Sepulveda. It's now called North Hills. But I'm sure you guys have heard of Sepulveda Boulevard. Sepulveda Boulevard, by the way, is the longest street in Los Angeles. It's 42.8 miles long. So it goes from Mission Hills down to Long Beach. It's the longest street. But I was born in Sepulveda, and my parents had a lot of Los Angeles pride. So they would always drive me places, whether it was Griffith Park, Venice Beach, of course, Dodger Stadium, Hollywood, Boyle Heights. I used to love seeing LA. My parents instilled this pride in Los Angeles in me. So I went to UCLA, stayed in town, and I wanted to be a journalist because I like learning, I like researching, all this stuff is interesting to me. So I was an editor for the UCLA student paper, the Daily Bruin. And then after school, I got a job at the LA Times. You guys familiar with the LA Times?
Yeah.
Does anybody actually read a newspaper?
No.
Has anybody actually seen the newspaper? Okay, so when I was growing up, the newspaper was a big deal, okay? We didn't have social media, there's no TikTok, no Instagram. So we got our information in the newspaper, and I loved it, because I love information, I love learning, and look, California section, Los Angeles Times, that just touches my heart, so I just want to know everything about LA. So I became a journalist, I worked for the LA Times, then I got into advertising, so I left journalism, but I still wanted to do reporting, I still wanted to amplify my voice. So at that point, I started a blog. I had a blog for a while, I had an email newsletter for a while, and you know, it wasn't really enough at that point. And then last year, during Christmas time, we were at my wife's family, and she has two cousins that are a little bit older than you guys. They're 16 and 18. So 16 and 18. And they said, Evan, you should start a TikTok feed. And all I knew about TikTok at the time were dances and people lip syncing over stuff, right? So, and I was like, I don't know, I don't dance, I don't lip sync. So TikTok, it's not for me. And they said, no, TikTok is where we get our news. And I said, wait a minute, I saw what Facebook did to news. You can't believe the news you see. And they were like, no, I'm telling you, there's an LA Times TikTok, there's a New York Times TikTok, Washington Post. So they showed me this stuff. And in the meantime, I have a 9-year-old son, by the way. My 9-year-old son, he's always on the screen. He's just getting into TikTok. And I'm trying to get him to read the newspaper. But like you guys, he's like, I have no interest in newspaper. And I said, okay, you want it? Hold on. No. First. Where's the newspaper? So go to the clip number 3, the newspaper clip. So my early TikToks look like this because I still wanted to report the news, and I'm such a newspaper guy, an LA-oriented guy. So this is what my early TikToks look like.
No.
Press play.
For the 11th, it's time for your veggies, so let's get into the headlines. Number 1, the new mayoral polls show that Rick Caruso has edged ahead of Karen Bass heading into the primary of June 7th. Let's get into the details on that. In a poll of nearly 1,400 voters taken on April 4th, the ascension of Caruso from virtual unknown in February.
So that's what it was originally. This inspired me, right? So they're telling me to do the news on TikTok. And I'm like, look, nobody reads the newspaper. I just wanted my son to follow local LA news. I knew he wasn't going to read the newspaper. So I was like, wait, maybe if I put it on TikTok, something will come out of this. Sure enough, it gained a little bit of traction. People seemed to enjoy it. And it was really inspiring just to see even just me doing newspaper articles. I'm like, people really care about Los Angeles. And I felt that was important and there was something there. So what really ended up happening from there is one day, there's nothing super interesting or informative in the newspaper, and I'm always reading books. Do you guys like to read, by the way? Yeah. Listen, reading is so important, all right? There's a saying, there's an acronym, ABL, always be learning, always find, there's information everywhere. And you want to keep reading. There's no better information source than books. We all know it. You guys are smart. Look, you guys are Larchmont Charter School. You guys are smart. You're aware. You know that there's a lot of bad information out there, especially on the internet, right? Misinformation. You guys have heard that. But books are verified. This is also why I like newspapers, because there are editors, there are people that read it to make sure that the stuff in there is interesting. So books are, I always read books about Los Angeles. They're great books. And one day I'm reading this book right here. It's by George Geary. It's called Made in California. Okay? Now what this book shows, all the different restaurants and not restaurants, but places you guys know and love that started in Los Angeles. Can anybody name a restaurant chain that started in Los Angeles? In-N-Out, I heard. Shout it out. McDonald's, attaboy. Tommy's, right? Panda Express, Carl's Jr., Bob's Big Boy. So the point is, so I put together a piece. Do clip number 3. Check this out. Check it out. Here we go. Look.
What is up? This is LA in a minute, and today's episode is pretty awesome. We're going to talk about the top 10 oldest fast food chains that originated in Los Angeles. Let's get into it. Founded in 1948 by Harry and Esther Snyder in Baldwin Park, Harry saw car culture developing and knew people would want to eat on the open road. So he tinkered in his garage, came up with the first two-way speaker, and the drive-thru was born, and so was In-N-Out Burger. Number 9, in Exposition Park in 1947, Lovey Yancey opened a 3-stool hamburger stand called Mr. Fatburger. This was huge because an African-American woman owning her own business in the 40s in a racially charged United States made Yancey a true pioneer. And by the way, in 1952, the Mr. was dropped and it became Fatburger. Number 8, originally founded in 1946 in North Hollywood as Walsh's Hot Dogs by Richard and Bernice Walsh, who sold chili dogs and tamales. Shortly thereafter, the chain name changed to Cupid's, which was Bernice's nickname. Number 7, also in 1946, Dave Barham opened a stand on Santa Monica Beach that served fresh squeezed lemonade and ice cream cones called Party Puffs. Realizing that menu might be a little limited, Barham used his mom's cornbread recipe, made corn dogs, put them on a stick, changed the name of his stand to Hot Dog on a Stick, and a beachside and food court legend was born. Number 6, also in 1946, Tommy Kulak's bought Quigley and Rampart for $800 and built an 8x15 stand with only enough room inside for the cooks. He had enough room for chili though, and that's the secret sauce that spawned hundreds of imitators in Los Angeles and made Tommy's the original. Number 5, again in 1946, George Foster bought the rights to Dairy Queen in California, but the state wouldn't let him use the word dairy in the name because the product did not have a high enough percentage of butterfat. Instead, he changed the name to Foster's Old Fashioned Freeze, opened up in Inglewood, and a milkshake legend was born. Number 4, in 1941, Carl Karcher and his wife Margaret purchased a hot dog cart on the corner of Florence and Central in Los Angeles. They soon had 4 hot dog carts, but they soon opened their first full-service restaurant, Carl's Drive-In Barbecue, in Anaheim in 1946, and eventually became Carl's Jr. Number 3, in 1937, Patrick McDonald opened the Airdrome, a food stand which sold hamburgers for
Who likes
10 cents.
McDonald's?
His son, Maurice and Richard, moved the entire building to San Bernardino, where they renamed McDonald's Barbecue, eventually McDonald's. Number 2, in 1939, Paul and Betty Pink opened a push cart selling hot dogs and tamales on the corner of La Brea and Melrose.
Do you guys know Pink's Hot Dogs?
LA institution ever since. And number 1, with $300, Bob Leon opened up Bob's Pantry in Glendale in 1936. So Bob's pioneered the use of car hops, which makes it the oldest fast food restaurant that originated in Los Angeles. All right, LA, it's been a minute.
All right.
What is up?
All
This
right.
is LA.
So look. It's not necessarily about the food, right? That made it. This piece right here is the piece that made me switch from newspaper reporting to doing pieces on the history and the culture of LA. And you're like, okay, this is all fast food. What does that have to do with culture in Los Angeles? Well, I'll tell you something. It's really important. Who knows why all these famous national, international chains started in Los Angeles? It's not just a coincidence. Does anybody know why? My man, what's your name? Liam, that was an awesome answer. That's exactly right. So Los Angeles developed around the car. All these older cities, amazing cities in the United States, whether it's New York, Boston, Chicago, these are all, San Francisco, these are all older cities that developed, first on foot, horse and wagon, then train. But Los Angeles didn't really come into being as Los Angeles until the 20th century, and that's when the car was already invented. So we had not just paved roads, but we had the first freeway in the country. Does anybody know what the Arroyo Seco freeway is? It's the 110. So that was the first freeway in the entire United States, because people in LA, it's a car culture, so the city grew out of the car. That's a reason why also what makes Los Angeles so unique is it's huge geographically. I mean, when you go from San Pedro to Porter Ranch, that's an hour and a half drive. That's south to north, north-south. from west to east, if you're going from Chatsworth to El Sereno, that's another like 20 plus miles. I mean, LA is this massive city, and it developed around the car. And guess what people like to do in the car? They like to eat, so that's why all these restaurants started here. So that was interesting. This is the stuff that I like to uncover on LA in a minute. I think that it's interesting. I think that there's so many little nuggets about Los Angeles that are just, look, I'm relentlessly curious. I'm always passionate about this city, about what made this city, about the people in this city. And part of the reasons that made Los Angeles develop and made all of our parents and grandparents want to come here is because it's so unique and because it's so open and because it has all these amazing factors, right? Another couple reasons why Los Angeles developed, by the way. Do you guys know that there is oil under the ground here? You guys, that's right. You guys know the La Brea tar pits? So there you go. So a man named Edward Doheny discovered oil in the 1890s. And now oil is worth a lot of money, right? So when they first discovered that oil was under the ground in Los Angeles, that started off an oil boom. And Los Angeles, people started coming from all over. You know, the gold rush had finished. Now it was the oil rush. And like somebody said, you see the oil derricks all throughout the city. Up La Cienega, they're lined with all this. And it's funny to me, because I'm driving around the city, you see buildings, you see billboards, but then you see an oil derrick and you're like, what? They're pumping oil like right under this major city, which I always thought was pretty awesome and incredible. Now, two other factors that made this city amazing and actually helped build this city. Does anybody want to guess? So we know that the people are at the core. Car culture is the reason that it is what it is today and why it developed. Oil is a main factor. Does anybody want to guess what the other two main factors that made Los Angeles really turn into this worldwide metropolis? What's up? My man. Water. So water is a huge, and this is important. You guys have all heard of this drought, right? You guys, we got it. Look, I do want to say this public service announcement. Please conserve water. When you're brushing your teeth, turn the water off. Tell your parents to turn the water off when they're washing the dishes. Don't take long showers. We need water. It is a precious resource. But here's the thing. Though Los Angeles developed around the LA River, the LA River only had enough water for so many people. So we had to go get water from outside, and we still do to this day. Have you guys ever seen, there's a big mountain when you're leaving the city, and there's a huge thing that looks like a water slide. You guys know that LA Aqueduct? Okay, so that's where we, at one point, got the majority of our water. Does anybody know where that water comes from? You get it. That's right. So the Owens River Valley. So what happened, and this is a very important part in Los Angeles' development, right? LA started to boom because of all these different reasons. The people are coming and the population's exploding. But we didn't have enough water. This is 100 years ago, and we didn't even have enough water back then. So a man named William Mulholland. Have you guys ever heard the word Mulholland? Mulholland Boulevard, William Mulholland. So he was an engineer. By the way, he was a self-taught engineer. He didn't have any formal schooling, but he read a lot of books, and he worked his way up to be chief engineer in Los Angeles. And he had all these ideas. Where are we going to get our water? Where are we going to get our water? He took a trip up to the Owens River Valley, 230 miles north in California. And there's these huge lakes and not very many people up there. So what he did, he got with the former mayor of Los Angeles, Mr. Eaton, and they decided to build an aqueduct. This was a huge infrastructure project, huge, where they were going to take water from 200 miles away and build pipelines to bring it into LA. And now that was somewhat controversial because you're taking water away from one community to feed the other. But at the same time, that was possibly the most important factor as why Los Angeles developed, because without water, we can't have a city, you can't have a population. So right now, water is still important, and we're continuously looking for new water resources, because there's more and more people, we demand more and more water, and we're in a once in every 1,200 year drought. So it's important. So we have oil, we have water. Who wants to guess the third thing that made Los Angeles develop? The origin stories of Los Angeles. Besides oil and water, what's the third factor that made Los Angeles that it is today? Yankee hat. What was that? This guy, perfect. Literally, good job, Yankees. So you guys know Hollywood motion picture industry. Look, anybody watch movies? Does anybody watch TV shows? Does anybody use social media or watch any episodes, anything on social? Well, guess what? That's all because of Los Angeles that happened. And look, so check this out. Have you guys heard of Thomas Edison? Yeah. Okay, so Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. He also invented the motion pictures. So he was the first guy. So Thomas Edison was from New Jersey, and he actually patented the way that you make movies, right? So all the movies in the 1890s were made in New Jersey, but guess what? They weren't movies at the time. There were these things called Nickelodeons, where you have to look into this thing and like crank it and make the pictures move. Who wants to do that? You know what I mean? Movies, shows you watch with your friends, stuff like that. So people finally, and New Jersey, the weather isn't that great out there. So they could only make these motion pictures a couple months per year. And Thomas Edison was very protective. So anybody else who tried to make movies, he was going to sue them and either prevent them from making movies or get a piece of it. So some smart, enterprising individuals are like, Los Angeles has this great weather, it has this great climate, it has all these areas that I can film in. Why don't I go make movies far away from Thomas Edison in this awesome climate? And thus, studios popped up in what is now Hollywood, and lo and behold, that's the history of the movie industry, which now is $500 billion per year for the United States economy, and one of the most important industries in the United States and the world. And that started right here in Los Angeles. Now, one other important factor. This is for you guys. Do you know what else was invented in Los Angeles? The internet was invented in Los Angeles at UCLA. Now where would we be without the internet? Because I know I wouldn't be here, right? There would be no TikTok, no Instagram, no YouTube. At UCLA in 1969, there was a message sent up to Stanford that was supposed to tell us, it was the first email, if you will, and he just wanted to tell the other scientists at Stanford to log in. So he had this huge computer. This computer, I'm telling you, was bigger than the framework around this stage. It's a single computer, because that's how computers had to be back then. To get that kind of power, you had to build this huge machine. So there's a computer as big as this stage, right? And he just wanted to send a simple message from UCLA to Stanford. And he was just going to tell his other scientists, he was just going to say, log in. That's all the message was supposed to say. It's the first message ever sent on what is now known as the internet. And this huge machine that took years, all these fantastic great scientists took them years to build, goes, press the button to send the message. The L, the O, and then the machine shuts down. So the first message ever was load and for login, but that was the beginning of the internet 53 years ago, and that started right here in Los Angeles. And that's what is so important, is that Los Angeles fosters all of this creativity. Los Angeles inspires people. You go outside every day, it is beautiful. You're looking at the palm trees, you're looking at the blue sky. You know you're gonna go to the beach this weekend. Maybe you're gonna go to the mountains. Maybe you're just walking around your neighborhood and gonna get your favorite tacos, or you're gonna get some Korean barbecue. And it's all here in Los Angeles, and this city has fostered so many important things. Go back to clip number 2. Guys, tech guys, check this out, check this out.
Live this year, LA and Midway. Now here's King Talk Citadel out from Park Lavone, the Arroyo Seco Parkway, aka the 110. I let Betty Porto, the daughter of Rosa Porto, the founder of Urban Lights at Larchmont Charter Boulevard, Grand Central Market, Regional Talk. been a minute.
So, look, all these amazing people, these amazing places, these amazing things have come from Los Angeles. And my message is to go outside and be curious, be inspired, always learn, ask questions. Where did this go? You know what I saw today? I'm pulling up here on Selma, and I see a building across the street that looks like a lighthouse. I don't know if you guys have seen this. And I'm like, what is that building? I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna go home and get on Google and research this because it's so unique. Every corner you turn, every block in your neighborhood, his neighborhood, her neighborhood, you have awesome stuff. And it's question it and look into it and research it. And it's really, really cool how many fun, interesting things are in this city. And that's something that you gotta use to inspire yourself. And to whatever it is, just believe in yourself, do the research, do the homework, enrich your life, and just truly speak on what you love, do what you love, because if you find out, if you do what you love, you're gonna wake up every day excited. And it doesn't matter, you know, it could be baseball, it could be science, it could be anything, reading, water, whatever it is. If you're into it, that's your passion, pursue that, learn about it. And guess what? You're gonna have a lot of fun and you're gonna wake up every day motivated and inspired. And that's the key, is to keep being inspired, keep being passionate, and just keep having fun. Because if you're not smiling, you're not having fun. And honestly, put yourself out there, literally amplify your voice, whatever that means to you. TikTok, writing, drawing, YouTube, playing music, playing sports, running, reading, whatever it is, do that and be true to yourself, because if you're doing what you love, you're gonna have fun, and that's the important thing. And I do want to tell you guys one other story. I want to tell you something. I want to tell you one of the greatest learning experiences of my life, and actually the reason I'm here today, is you learn through failure, okay? And you don't fail unless you try. And it's important, you have to try, always have to try, because it's better to try and fail than it is to not try and always wonder what could have been. So going back to when I was at UCLA, my dream at that point, I wanted to be a newscaster, okay? And like, kind of turned into something like that. But I wanted to be on the news, reading the news, whether it was local TV news, CNN, whatever. And I got an internship at NBC. You guys know NBC? Yeah. All right, also based in LA and Burbank. So I got an internship there, and I did all this. I got coffee for people, and I made photocopies, and I did all this grunt work, you know, nothing exciting. But I knew that at the end of my internship, I was gonna have a screen test. And what a screen test is they let you sit in the big news desk that all these famous newscasters are sitting in, and all the cameras around you, the lights are on, I'm wearing a shirt and tie, and I'm reading the news, and I'm like, this is exciting, I'm gonna be a newscaster. And I'm doing my report, and one of the producers is like, Evan, could you enunciate more? I didn't know what enunciate meant. Do any of you guys know what the word enunciate means? Okay, so enunciate means to pronounce, to speak clearly or to pronounce clearly. I didn't know that. So what did I do? I just started talking louder, right? And then, so they essentially cut me off, and they were like, look, thanks for the internship. It was helpful, but you're not cut out for this, is essentially what they said. And the first thing I did was kind of hang my head in the parking lot, sad, you know, maybe my dreams are crushed. But the next thing I did was go and look up that word enunciate, and you better believe that to this day, I absolutely know what that means and do my best to speak clearly. But the thing is, the failure is what I'm able to learn from, because now I know in the next opportunity, with all that work and all that preparation, all those hopes, that you need to be more prepared, and you need to take from that into your next endeavor, whatever that may be. And for me, this TikTok that it turned into, essentially achieving the dream of being a newscaster in a different form, different era, but that is exactly what it is. And it's important to learn, and it's important to research, and without that failure, I wouldn't be here. And reporting on the things that I love in the city that I love is what really makes me happy and what really inspires me. And it truly was a situation to be able to chase my dreams of Los Angeles, of learning, of information, of amplifying my voice, and of just chasing my dreams. So I mean, this city, LA in a minute, I'm so thankful to all of you. Everybody who's told me that you guys follow me, I love it. It's not about the followers, even though honestly, thank you, and it is so appreciative. I'm appreciative to know that I'm appreciated. But what it really is to shine a positive light on this city, because Los Angeles is awesome. It's awesome, and there's so many cool things about it. And the people, you guys, are the coolest thing. You're the most important thing about this city. Like, your friends, explore with them. Know what they're eating, like what your favorite foods. Try your friends' food. Like, have dinner at their house. Like, you know, it's just, there's so many amazing and diverse things in the city, diverse people, that we are really lucky to be here. And LA in a minute is my platform to show all the great things in Los Angeles. So listen, I'm gonna start wrapping it up from my side, but I am gonna take questions, and then after some questions, I do have a t-shirt giveaway as well.
All right,
So
all right.
So,
Evan, let's give a round of applause.